Well, I've gotten to the point of being able to look around at the contrast of what I'm not living and don't care to live, and really have a sense of appreciation for those that,
Yes.
that are fulfilling
Yes.
that picture for me
Good.
to come to greater clarity about.
Perfect.
But then I wondered if, somebody decides, well, I'm going to go down and I'm going to play this role in this attitude that will not be popular in society or whatever. But
You do it almost every lifetime.
okay.
In other words, that's sort of the attitude of teachers. In other words, you don't come for popularity, you come for clarity. The approval of others isn't on your agenda. It is the satisfaction of taking thought beyond that which it has been before. And we promise you, friend, there has never been a crowd on the leading edge. They do not stand and cheer the forward thinkers. They usually hang them, burn them, chop off their heads. Things get better all the time, however.
Thank you.
Oh, we're having fun with you, but you get the sense of what we're talking about. In other words, most of the population seeks sameness because they are not understanding the thrill of moving beyond. Now, we want to take this just a little further, and then we'll come to you, because this is an important thing. As you are deliberate creators, and you are getting the vibrational hang of it, as Esther says, that I'm really getting the hang of this. As you begin to understand vibration, you begin to notice how you are feeling, and you begin to project your feelings first. In other words, you begin to recognize that what creation is about creating a vibrational nucleus right here. In other words, using whatever methods you need to, whether it is memory, selective memory, or selective sifting in the now, or imagination. But you learn to conjure a vibration right here and now that is a vibration of well-being, a vibration of fun and of exhilaration, a vibration of adventure, a vibration of exhilaration. As you conjure, through whatever means it takes, that vibration, then everything in the universe begins to respond to that vibration, because law of attraction is the name of the game. It always has been and it always will be, you see. Creation is not about looking over there and seeing something and longing for it. Creation is about looking over there, seeing something, longing for it momentarily, but then finding a way to feel as if you are already there. Because when you feel as if you are already there, now it is your point of attraction, and now it must come to you. But then what happens is, and we're beginning to see this with a lot of you, and we want to talk about this because we like to stay a step ahead of where you are having your experiences. And so here is what we're noticing. The other day, Esther said to Jerry, "Now what?" And she was talking about furnishing. They purchased the last piece of furniture to go in the house, and Esther was feeling uncomfortable that the house isn't bigger because there's no more places to put nice pieces of furniture. Not another wall to hang anything, not another place to put anything. And Jerry was teasing her. She found something she liked very much, and he said, "Well, you have to decide what you're going to discard before you bring something else home. Otherwise, there's sort of things on top of things on top of things." And so Esther was feeling lack of space. And then, following in that theme or that mode, she's looking out at the landscaping and wanting something else, and then thinking about something else and wanting something else. And she sort of got into a mode of now what? What's next? A vibration of incompletion, almost a vibration of dissatisfaction. And when Jerry got a whiff of it, he sort of recoiled from it because it didn't feel good to him. And he said, "Well, one thing I've acclimated to is that there is never enough with you." In other words, it's never enough. And when Esther heard him put into words the vibration that she was pointedly offering, she recoiled too. In other words, she did not like the feeling of dissatisfaction. But then they chewed on it a little bit, and what Esther began to realize is that when you begin to accept that you have no limitations, in other words, when there are no limitations of dollars, and you understand that there's no limitation on your ability to attract, in other words, anything that you want is there for you, then you find yourself feeling limited in space, which means you're moving to a bigger space, which soon fills too, which means you're moving to another space, which soon fills too. In other words, you find yourself almost being dragged by the heels from the stirrups of a runaway horse as you're trying to keep up in action with the things you've set into motion with your mind. In other words, it gets moving so fast you can't live it as fast as it is coming. Well, that's not balance, is it? And then as they pondered, and then another woman talked to Abraham about it, and then another woman talked to Abraham about it, and we began to formulate something that we want to give to all of you here, and that is that this balance that you talk about and that we talk about is, and that you brought forth just a little bit ago, is about finding the feeling of desire that is fulfilled without it having to expand into the physical manifestation every moment. In other words, once you start taking pleasure from the mental excursion, once you start delighting in the thoughts that the physical realm stimulate you to think, and you start taking satisfaction in mulling over the thoughts and in finding harmony within the thoughts and coming to conclusions within the thoughts and seeing the greater world around you responding to your thoughts, then you begin to live life as you've intended here in these physical bodies. You see, if you take the power of the universe that creates worlds and you funnel it through the narrow scope of decorating your house, it's too much energy and too much power for one small subject, and it gets out of balance. Suddenly you find yourself run ragged trying to keep up with this kind of power. Get the sense of what we're talking about? But when you broaden your scope and you start thinking about the well-being of mankind and you start applauding all that they're doing and you look more on a global level for the subjects that surprise and delight you, then you find yourself coming back into balance, because now you are utilizing the energy that creates worlds in a more balanced way. Is this making some sense to you? Most physical beings are not quite at the place of understanding that, because you still have these voids you're trying to fill. So what happens is we keep seeing you struggle. You'll have these things that you want from the place of not having them, but you can't get them from that feeling place of not having them. So you just sort of linger on the edge for a long time, most of you, of wanting things that don't come and wanting things that don't come and wanting things that don't come and feeling envious of those who are getting those things from your place of not having them. Then some of you begin to make this transition that we are talking about, where you find the feeling place of what you desire. You finally get your desire and your vibration, or your desire and your day-to-day observation into vibrational harmony. So now those things start coming. But your life gets out of balance again very fast, because there's a limit to how many wonderful restaurants you can eat in, or how many wonderful trips on the Concorde you can endure, or how many pieces of furniture or oriental rugs you can bring home. In other words, when you're talking about things rather than the universal experience of expansion, it gets out of balance very fast. Are we making some sense to you? So what we are coming round to telling you is something that you've heard from us and many others for many years, for all of your physical life, in fact, that the joy is in the journey, and that what you are seeking is bliss. In other words, we want you to try to make this a feeling experience rather than a having experience, a feeling experience rather than a doing experience. We would like it if each moment of your experience you were looking for the harmony that surrounds you. And that's when you really begin to appreciate the diversity of your physical time and place. When you are no longer comparing your actions or your possessing to those of others, but you are in this moment gleaning the most from the contrast and using it to summon or conjure the true essence of who you are and apply the true essence of who you are in this moment. That's when life really gets good. In other words, that's when every moment is delicious, every moment is meaningful, in every moment you are uplifting, in every moment you are beneficial to those around you, in every moment they are to you. In other words, that's the true physical humanity that you planned when you said, yeah, I want to go forth into this physical experience. And that's why, from your non-physical perspective, you weren't all that picky about where you're born and who you're born to. You just more or less said something more like, let me at it, it's going to be great, I'll figure it out as I go. I have this guidance system within me that'll let me know when I'm on or off my beam. And so I'll just feel my way through it. Did you hear us? I'll just feel my way through it. You didn't say, I will intellectualize my way through it. You didn't say, I'll purchase my way through it. You didn't say, I'll eat my way through it, or drink my way through it, or excuse myself through it, or rationalize myself through it, or fake my way through it. You said, I'll feel my way through it. I'll know in every moment when I'm in alignment with who I am. I'll know by the feeling in my solar plexus. I'll know that joy and exhilaration and adventure and fulfillment and that feeling of passion means I'm on the beam. And I'll know that fear or insecurity or guilt or loneliness or uneasiness or any of those negative emotions like anger mean in this moment I'm off the beam. You said, I'll feel my way through it and I will find satisfaction beyond description in this physical world of diversity. You didn't say, clean it all up and when it's good, I'll come. You said, let it roll as it is. I'm selective enough that I can feel my way through this and choose what is appropriate unto me. That's why we say, don't you ever wonder how in all of the history of man, they haven't been able to figure out one truth? Some of them say have many wives. Some of them say have one wife. Some of them say have no wives. Some of them say eat this. Some of them say don't eat that. Some of them say eat this. Some of them say don't eat that. In other words, some of them say this process is the best for our government. Some of them say this process is the best. Some of them say my God says this. Some of them says my God say. How do you keep from driving yourself absolutely crazy with all of that if you are expecting anybody outside of you to tell you what is truth, you see? But when you say, hey, now wait a minute, it's all true, because it's all about perceiving. And I have a guiding light within me that lets me know whether I'm perceiving it in harmony with who I really am. You believe as you wish, and I bless you for it. I push against you not one little bit. I applaud this magnificent diversity. I just choose this for now, while I appreciate your choosing that. Can you feel the ease and comfort and support of humanity? Can you feel how if you heard someone expressing a religion that you really didn't understand, but you saw passion shining in their eyes, couldn't you root for the passion in their eyes? If you saw them reaching for some physical, climatic experience, and they were utilizing some drug that you did not approve on, but you saw the joy of exhilaration, couldn't you applaud the experience anyway? In other words, can't you allow them to do it their way while you do it your way? You see? Indeed you can.